when I'm learning little by little, I learned along the way that these Marvel movies, the MCU movies, are derived from the comic books. I've been learning this little by little, doing my research online, coming to find out that, you know, that part of this, I don't even know what percentage to say, but like I don't, I'm wondering to what degree and what percentage is new movie written script of these characters and what's comic book derived. I would love to know what the percentage is because the percentage is because I started to feel like how much of it is comic book and how much is it new material. And
But
so how
that's
much
like,
why do we need to love these things so much if this is being derived from the comic books? It's almost like why don't we just go back and
mm.
it's almost making me feel like to put down the Blu-ray and pick up the comic book kind
Well,
of.
I think that's the beauty. Actually, you're touching on a couple of things I wanted to talk about because I think that's the beauty of like, having something like Marvel that they created the whole comic book universe or whatever, and then we have the movies that came, years afterwards. So they kind of both feed off each other at this point, and I don't have an answer like as far as how much because they like what I told you the other day, and I was shortly followed by we should talk about this on the podcast. But I told you the other day, I'm like, there's a number of sources that they'll pull from, like one of the things I told you about, like Hela, how she was in Ragnarok, that she doesn't actually throw knives
Mm-hmm.
or materialize knives, whatever she does and throws them. That's actually another trait that another Marvel character has, or something that they actually kind of borrowed that ability and kind of implemented it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
For overall appeal. You know what I'm saying? It's badass. It's fucking knives.
Yeah.
Materialize from my wrist. You know what I'm saying? Bigger, cooler knives than Loki. You know? So they go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, I'm like kind of going all over the place. I guess I've been recently. I came across some information in relation to the movies and in relation to Disney and Marvel, and it made me have a different feeling, almost like a sick to my stomach feeling, because I felt really bad for the individuals that I got to learn about,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time I felt really happy that I learned about these individuals because I didn't know much. I didn't even know it was so the other day I was watching the Fat Man Beyond, and I had saw that they interviewed the gentleman named Ed Brubaker,
Mm-hmm.
and I really didn't even know when. It's not like when his name came on the screen, I was like, oh, it's Ed Brubaker. It was almost
Who
like
that is? Who that is?
it was just like, who is this guy? And I was like, okay, let me find out. Maybe this is gonna be interesting. Kevin Smith. He's not gonna disappoint. So let's see who this guy is.
No, but
And so
who's Brubaker?
so he's the original creator of the Winter Soldier storyline for Marvel Comics. And when I found out and I heard him talk for a good while, my heart just like sank, and I felt so bad for him because I was just like, this is not right. Like I immediately felt like Captain America in Civil War. I was just like, this poor man wrote this story, created this. Okay, it's not like he created Bucky. He didn't create James. Obviously that was Jack Kirby and Stan Lee
Mm-hmm.
that created that character, but he made a retelling, and it's kind of like a new character from an existing character. He's, in my opinion, he created something. When I first saw the Winter Soldier movie,
he helped reinvigorate the character in such a way that it took a bland character. What I told you, Bucky was this, goofy, kid sidekick.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That was like the old Marvel storylines, and I don't know. After I don't again,
he wanted for years. He said in his
Right.
interview that he wanted to bring him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
That he felt like that character was forgotten about, and he wanted to find a way to bring him back, or bring him back from the dead, or whatever it was. Because in the comics he died in a plane. A plane had explosives on the plane,
Right.
and Captain America and him left. I guess Captain America jumped off the plane, and Bucky was still on the plane with the explosives when it blew up. So Captain America assumed that Bucky died in the explosion.
Okay.
That's-
Thank you for that. No,
Right.
seriously, because I'll get into something else after. Go ahead.
And so okay, I tend to, again, the way I look at things like this is like right is right and wrong is wrong. I get very Captain America about all these things, and I felt like, no, that man Ed Brubaker deserves to be paid some type of royalties. I think, when I sat down to watch The Winter Soldier, that might have been one of the first Marvel movies we watched out of order, before I started purchasing Phase 1. And then I was like buying these things on Amazon. I was like, okay, well, I gotta get Phase 1. We gotta get these movies because I want to see them in Blu-ray. I'm buying the collector's edition Blu-ray kits that have all the movies and the little posters and the trinkets that come with it. And so when I first saw The Winter Soldier, we didn't even have all the other movies, and I almost felt a bit confused. But at the same time, I really loved that movie is awesome, The Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I saw the interview on Fat Man Beyond of Ed Brubaker speaking about how part of that B plot is from his original writing, I felt like this poor man got ripped off. I felt like a nasty feeling in my stomach. I was like, oh my God, I love something that the original creator for the storyline didn't get paid. So it's just like, and then the other day I just started thinking to myself, I was like, not to say anything negative about Marvel and Kevin Feige, but I'm like, is Kevin Feige like what Puff Daddy did in the 90s with the with the remixes of the songs from the 60s and 70s?
Go ahead. Just laughing.
Because so now I'm thinking, these shows that are coming out now, I feel like Marvel is trying a little bit. I don't know. First of all, they did not know the success of the MCU films when they were doing Iron Man 1 and Hulk. The controversy with the actor Edward Norton and stuff like that. I don't think that they knew that these movies were going to continue to stick and create a connective storyline. I didn't think they were.
Nah, that was the goal. That was the goal.
I don't think that.
No, that was the goal from the beginning.
Because first of all, with Iron Man, with all the fucking Jon Favreau and a lot of that was off script. A lot of that was the whole. I feel like 70 or 60% of Iron Man was probably improv. And I might be going to stretch because it's not like I don't know. But so just the whole notion of they didn't know that they were going to make it to Phase 2. Mm-hmm. They didn't know they were going to make maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. They didn't know that the fans were going to care that much. But at the same time, they're kind of like taking from the comic book storylines and doing another remix spin on. They're making remixes of the comic book storyline in the film, but then at the same time, maybe in the script somewhere they're writing new stuff, or maybe the character looks different, or they have different weapons, or they have different abilities, or whatever it is. But we don't know what the percentage is. So I almost feel like, it was so amazing though, because they connected 22, 23 films. Well, but now it's like I feel like they're trying to maybe regain that with the shows now. I feel like they don't want to like stop the hamster wheel. They want to like, oh man, the success of all these movies to Endgame, let's do that again. Or let's see if we could push out and go to film fucking 40 in whatever, how many years from now, and just let's do it all over again. But, obviously there's all this talk now about the new Avengers, which I'm really not interested in. I feel like once Tony Stark died, that's where it ended for me. Once you made Captain America into old Cap, that's where it ended for me. Black Widow's gone. These characters they're either most of the original crew, the original six are not around, or they've there's two of them that are dead, and then one of them that's old, and we don't even know if he's dead or not because there hasn't been a confirmed funeral. So in my opinion, he's still around and alive, and I just don't have that interest. Like I feel like they're gonna try to see if they could repeat what they did with the films leading up to Endgame. I feel like I see them trying to do that again. Let's do 20-something more films. But I don't know if I'm going to care as much, because now it's like, you guys are just pulling from the comics. Mm-hmm. And then especially, when I hear that man, Ed Brubaker, talk about how he feels he was treated unfairly and he was ripped off. And, it feels horrible to see somebody, like, feel like, something was stolen from them. And, like, I just don't. And I believe what he's saying. I know it's just like, somebody might be out there saying, he could just be crying for money, or maybe he's exaggerating the whole situation. But I think that I truly believe him, that he's being treated unfairly and that they didn't pay him enough, and he should be getting to, especially since he doesn't want to even watch the show. He's so hurt to the point that he doesn't even care about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He doesn't want to watch it just yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that he doesn't care and he doesn't want anybody else to enjoy it, because he clearly said that he wants people to enjoy it. He doesn't want to sound bitter, but that he's not ready to watch the show, and I felt that was kind of sad. You
Yeah,
know.
but that's what I was trying to tell. I was trying to tell you, man. Like as far as like the storytelling goes, as far as like how the MCU works and whatever, it's literally an amalgamation of characters and storylines, and the abilities that these characters have might be pulled from someone else. Like what I told you with Hela, that she got that ability in the movie of Ragnarok that materializing throwing knives or whatever. It's like that's a character trait from another. I mean, a trait from another Marvel character. And it's like, okay, so do you freaking place? I mean, pay some kind of royalty to that character? Creator. So it's like, again, I was trying to tell you, like, damn, as a creative myself, like that sucks. But it's like you gotta hear, you gotta like get as like with anything, especially as intellectual properties and stuff, know what you're getting into. If there's a contract involved, which you want 100% of the freaking time, like you want your work legit and be compensated for it. And I'm not even talking about like I'm the most experienced person or whatever, this that. It's just me in my older age too. You just know better. Versus somebody like him, he probably started out younger and like, yes, just please pay me. It's very much of a big deal when you're developing someone else's intellectual property. What are the stipulations? How can I be compensated? Again, what I told you too, because these characters were developed in a time that is like what, early 2000s, that is like, yeah, the whole superhero genre, the whole movie thing was starting to pick up and look even more promising. But it's like maybe that just wasn't a stipulation that he actually wanted to list himself on the contract, or say, what about this? Should this, develop into, I don't know, again, we're not these people. But I know as a creative, fuck yeah, that sucks.